What's the deal, family? I'm in my fix and flip right now. A property that we just put on the market for $115,000. I wanted y'all to check it out a little bit, and I also wanted to give y'all some insight on different strategic ways to get strategic financing instead of going to get a business loan or getting a mortgage. So one of the things that I did, was actually get a mortgage. A cash out refinance is actually a mortgage. But a lot of times you don't even know that you're sitting on gold mines. These assets that we have, that our family own, are sometimes gold mines that we can tap into, and I'm gonna break that down real quick. So I've been living with my mother for about the last 2 years, and it works for us because I'm never home. I'm always either in class, at work, doing business, and I needed a place to lay my head. But I knew that I could help my mother as well, cut the costs, and I'm closer to my family. I get to spend more time with my mother, the nephews and nieces, so it works. It really, really works. And my mother's been owning this house for about 10 years now, right? And it's in the downtown area. I say it's the downtown area. Some people call it the East Side because it's right next to King High School, which is Martin Luther King High School in Detroit, Michigan. And but since the turnaround of Detroit, you get that overflow of downtown, midtown houses that have really appreciated in value, that have a lot of equity tied up in them, right? So I knew that. I knew that this house my mother owned, free and clear, had equity into it. And my strategy in my head was to tap into it, right? Didn't know how, but I knew that I can leverage this money to make money. So I'm gonna just go over that process real quick. So initially when I bought the idea to my mother, she didn't like it. And not to blame her, but she isn't educated in the realm of investing. That's why we're in the predicament that we're in right now, living check to check. Because, if she was educated, she would have knew that she had equity in this house that she could tap into to reinvest, to help, to bring more income into the household. She didn't know that, so I didn't knock her for not knowing. I just was like, okay, I need to start by educating her. So I would tell her like, hey, Ma, you got equity into this house. I know the property values in this area. We can do it. We can take the equity into the house and reinvest into some real estate. We can make about this amount of much money this year if we reinvest it the correct way. And like I said, the first time she was against it. The second time I brought it to her attention, I asked her about her 401k. There wasn't much in her 401k, but I'm like, hey, Mom, we got an asset that we can leverage. We got a whole asset that we can leverage. She was like, let me think about it. You know what I'm saying? Let me think about it. This process, it took me about a year. So this isn't an easy process. Unless you own the house yourself, of course, you can take the money out. But if you don't own the house yourself, you got to convince someone to put the house in your name so you can actually do the cash out refinance. So it took me about a year. The third time I asked my mother, she actually came to me and was like, look, because my mother had surgery and she don't want to walk up and down stairs no more. She wants to live in a household, which is a ranch, a flat, where she ain't got to walk up no stairs. She can go right to her room, go right to the kitchen. And I understand that. And I'm like, okay, I get it. She said, I want to move. I said, well, where we going to get the money from? I'm like, my money tied up in assets. This was before I started to liquidate. And she like, I don't know, but I want to move. My knees hurt. I don't like going up and down. And she said, all right, Ma, let me help you. I'm like, this is a strategy that I know will work. We got equity into the house. Let me take money out of the house and let me reinvest it. Let me do a couple fix and flip projects, and I'll be able to give you enough money for your down payment and closing costs so you won't have to come out of nothing out of pocket. That sounds sweet, right? That sounds real good to somebody that want to move and don't got the money. So, or that don't want to save. You don't try. She didn't want to have to spend a year trying to save all her money just to move. When I can do it in 6, I can do 2 flips and give her enough money to move. So, she let me do it, and I jumped right on it. I transferred the deed from her name to my name using the quitclaim deed. Looked that up, and at first, when I first did it, I didn't even know if I wanted to keep it in my business name or my personal name. I first did it in my business name, thinking that, hey, I put it in my business name because it won't impact my personal credit score, and I can still use my personal credit score. Or I could put it in my business name and it would just show as a business asset on the books and it won't impact my personal, right? Or I could put it in my personal and it would impact my personal, but I'll be more than likely able to get the loan because it's in my personal name. I haven't really met, at the time, I didn't know a lot of businesses that did cash out refinances that were in your personal name. Now, these are traditional banks I'm talking about, like a Huntington. That's the only one I know about. But Key Bank actually does do cash out refinance, and that's a regional bank with houses that are in business names, right? So I did that. Where we at in the process? When I first put the house in my name, it took me literally about a year to actually do the cash out refinance because I just wasn't sure. I wasn't sure which way I wanted to do it. I wasn't sure which institution I wanted to finance the deal. I just wanted to educate myself, and this is why education is important, because I educated myself enough to make an educated, calculated decision. I went with Key Bank. I left it in my personal name. I went with I went with Huntington Bank because I had built up a rapport with Huntington and they had already knew me because I had put a mortgage on another property that I had acquired. I had leveraged an FHA loan. So they knew me already. They had my background check. They had my credit score. They had my W-2s. They knew everything about me. So I knew that if anybody was going to give me the money, it was going to be them because they already knew who I was. The only challenge that I had was the debt to income ratio. My debt to income ratio has to be under 42%, I believe. Research it, look it up. If it ain't accurate, let me know. In order for them to lend you, this is all traditional financing. Like, this isn't like private money, hard money. This is just straight traditional financing, right? They're not looking at my assets. They just basing it off of the amount of money, the amount of income I bring in per month. It has to be, my debt to income ratio has to be 42%. So I was right at that point. I was at 41%, so I was able to get the loan. I would definitely say go with somebody that you trust, a bank that knows you, because they're more than likely know you already. They see your payment history and they're going to be able to quickly approve you. The first time I got my mortgage, it took me about 8 weeks. The second time I got a refinance cash out mortgage, it took me about 2 weeks. And that's because they knew me already, they had everything they needed, and it was a simple process. I got that money, did the closing, got that money the next day. They did the same day, did the same day order, got it the next day, got a check for 66 grand. They're only going to give you, on a cash out refinance, 75% of the loan to value. So however much the house is worth, they're going to give you 75% of that. The house is worth $89,000. They end up giving me $66,000. Do the math. Let me know if it's wrong. So now with that $66,000, I'm able to invest in more fix and flip deals, right? I'm able to leverage the asset that we got. I actually got a project under offer right now. It's going to probably cost me about 70 grand, but I'm going to use that 66 grand to make 50 G's. I do this 2 times, I made 100 G's. I can pay for my mother a house, right? So that's the strategy, right? You have these, you're sitting on these gold mines. You don't even know you're sitting on these gold mines. So just keep those things in mind. I would definitely say a few key takeaways is that convincing someone to put a house in your name is going to be challenging, but you have to build that credibility. I had the experience already. My mother knew I bought over 13 houses. She knew that I was investing. She knew I had a fix and flip project that I was working on right now. And she was able to trust me, right? Because I built up that credibility with her and that accountability. So she knew that I'm not the kid that's going to waste the money. I'm the kid that's going to be very strategic, and she thought this all the way through. And I even had to remind her. I said, "Mom, I've been investing for 4 years. I know what I'm doing. You know, I'm like, this ain't me year one. I actually know what I'm doing." Another thing to take away is you're definitely sitting on gold mines. It's definitely a challenge to get someone to put a deed in your name. And if they don't want to put it in your name, you can definitely do a cash out refinance with two people on the deed. Y'all will both be accountable for that cash out refinance mortgage. Now both of y'all got to do it through a credit background check. Now both of y'all got to do show y'all income. So it's a little bit easier when you're doing one person because you only got to show your own stuff. But if two people's names are on that deed, both of y'all got to provide those documents. Another thing, let's see. I want to make sure I hit everything, so I'm giving enough insight on how you can leverage assets that you already have. I think that's about it. I can't think of anything else, but remember, assets are liabilities. Peace, family.